let's look at the steps that is involved in breathing. So we have step number 1, that is inhalation, breathing in, and step number 3, exhalation. There's step number 2 that you guys have to guess. So breathing in, what happens? Basically, we are looking at diaphragm. It contracts, that is, it basically moves down, expanding your chest and lungs basically, and because of which your air enters, filling up the lungs. Right? Now, when you exhale, what happens? The diaphragm relaxes. So basically it dooms up. So it's moving up. Right? And the direction of the movement is inward. And the chest obviously collapses because the lungs reduces in size. Air exits lung, that is, we breathe out air. So air is coming in, air is going out. What should happen in between? So try to recall, try to understand. This is how you can remember things easily. So we breathe in, breathe out. What do we breathe in? Pretty much air. Whatever is there in the surrounding, we breathe in. What do we breathe out exclusively? Think about it. Yes, CO2. But what do we take into the body? Yes, oxygen. That's where our step 2 comes into picture. The gas exchange, basically. In our alveoli, right? Surrounding that is your blood capillary. So basically, this is your alveoli, the balloon-like structure that we spoke about in the last video. So basically, the deoxygenated blood comes in this way. It gives out CO2 and it takes in O2 and continuation, So basically, we are looking at it breathing out through the lungs. So this is going out of the lungs, basically. And it is getting in pretty much all the air, including that is your oxygen. So this is where the exchange happens. They are porous. And so the movement can happen over here. And thus the gas exchange takes place. This is the entire steps that is involved in breathing. So let's look at the text. So in the last video, we saw that alveoli plays a primary role. It's a primary site for the gas exchange. So the thin walls provide a large surface area for diffusion. So you understand diffusion, right? Each alveoli is surrounded by an extensive network of capillary. So the tiny blood vessels that helps in this process of exchange. What are the processes of breathing involving? So inhalation, exhalation, and in between your gas exchange. So the rib muscle contracts, lifting the ribs upward and outward. The diaphragm contracts and flattens, increasing the volume of the chest. This creates a large pressure inside the lungs because the pressure, so lower pressure, not large pressure, lower pressure. Because of the low pressure, what happens? Air gushes in, moves in. And then the gas exchange takes place, the blood flowing through the capillary surrounding the alveoli. So it gives a CO2 to the alveoli for the release. Simultaneously, it takes in the oxygen and delivering it to wherever it wants, right? Inhale, air diffuses from the alveoli into the blood. And the exhalation, the breathing out, the rib muscle and the diaphragm relaxes, decreasing the volume of the chest cavity and forcing air out of the lungs. So there is always some residual volume. Even after exhalation, a residual volume of air remains in the lungs. This ensures that gas exchange can occur continuously, even between breaths, and preventing the alveoli from collapsing. The process has to continue. Blood keeps flowing. Doesn't matter if you hold your breath or not. So technically, this keeps happening. So, what is the role of nostril and all that? That is okay. How is the exchange of gas facilitate within the lungs? Just a second, let me see. Okay, I'll have to discuss this over here itself in this video. So what is a nose, not nose, role of nostril? Air enters body through nostril. It is filtered. Air is filtered by fine air and mucus. How is the exchange of gases facilitated within the lungs? The lungs are divided into smaller tubes and alveoli, which provides a surface area for exchange of gas. The alveolar surface, it's spread out, would be around 80 meters square. That's pretty huge. What is the role of blood in exchange of gases within the lungs? Blood brings the carbon dioxide into alveoli and releases oxygen, allowing for the exchange of gases. So basically, it's taking in carbon dioxide, not taking in, sorry. Actually, it does take in from one end and gives it to alveoli, and from alveoli, it takes in oxygen, gives it some at the other end somewhere the oxygen. How is oxygen transported to all the cells? Oxygen is transported to all the cells in the body through the circulatory system carried by red blood cells. Describe an end-to-end process of human respiratory system. Outline the key steps involved from the intake of air to distribution of oxygen into the body's cell. So inhalation, filtration, passing through respiratory tract, gas exchange happens in lungs, then oxygen is transported. So this is a repeated step. I'm just summarizing all of it. The oxygen absorbed by the blood in the alveoli is then transported via the bloodstream to all the cells throughout the body, wherein it is utilized for various metabolic reasons. Okay, so this is basically your respiration in a person.